What'd you forget? Oh, your mic. That might help.
Might help.
Might help if they could talk to you, huh?
Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Sorry about the weird noises if you're hearing weird noises, guys. I always forget it. Always forget the microphone. There. You should be able to hear me now. Hello, everybody. I'm Tiffany. Welcome to my quilting life. Today is breakfast time, and we're going to have some jelly rolls. Yeah, I can eat too. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Let's fix that. Fix. Yeah, I'm doing it right now. I'm just using the telefono. Whew. Oh my. Who do we have here today? Kathy, Yolanda, Dawn, Christine, Vicky, Linda, Zarina, Mary, Marlene, Nancy, June, Linda, Stuart, Cynthia, Bambi, Tanya, and many more. Hello, everybody. Good morning. I need to take a drink of water real quick, and Thumper's going to come say hi real quick while I take a drink of water. He got his self shaved 2 days ago because he needed another haircut. He definitely likes to strut his stuff. Ain't that right, buddy? Plus, when he licks himself on his paws, he pulls all the hair out of his paws. So I have to trim all that extra hair out of his paws, huh? Because you like to get your paw hair, huh? Okay, bye-bye, kitty.
He's been sleeping 2 nights in a row now.
He's been sleeping in the bathtub lately. It's the weirdest thing. He's such a weird cat.
Maybe it's nice and cool in the tub.
Yeah, the tub is probably cool, yeah. He's definitely odd. Cats are weird. Dogs are weird. All animals are weird. But we're humans, and to them, we're weird. Okay. So, today I'm going to play with jelly rolls. I'm just going to open them up. I'm going to start sewing them together into strip sets of 2. And then I'm going to take those strip sets of 2 and turn them into strip sets of 4. But not a strip set. It's going to be a tube. So we're going to put two on top of 2 and sew down both sides, create a tube. And then I'm going to take the handy dandy strip tube ruler. I don't know which one I need at the moment because I'm not sure if I'm doing half or whole numbers, which is what these are, half or whole numbers. And then I'm going to use one of these and make triangles out of it that turn into squares. So that's what we're going to do. And I've literally had these jelly rolls for a very long time, back when Tuesday morning was a thing. So it's time to finally use them because, you know, it's time to finally use them. And they're really pretty. They're just by Fabric Central. Vintage Splendor collection. There's only like 8 colors in them. But we're going to use it all because I'm going to make a large quilt. And however many breakfasts at Tiffany's it takes me to make these, I'll make them. But I'll have Scott hold one of these up so that you guys can see the colors. Just hold that end up so they can see the colors that are in it. And yep. It's all light yellows, pinks, greens, baby blues, and whites. I'm not using any other fabric, just the jelly rolls for this quilt. So I'm literally just going to take 2 pieces, sew them together, and I'm going to try to like rotate between them so that I don't have, when I go to put the 2 pieces on top of the other 2 pieces to create the tube, that I don't have 2 matchings. So, my what? Oh, yeah. So is my threader. It'll be fine. I could see it. These have some really big pinked edges. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and...
In other words, we're going to have a mess all over.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to sew fast. Literally speed sewing. Why? Because I can. And then grab 2 more. So we're going to match one of these with one of these. Sew them together. It's actually not as bad of a mess as I thought it would be so far, though. Why can I not open that piece up? That was weird. So this is what I'll be doing for the next 2 hours. And when I make a big enough pile, I'll send it over to Scott so he can start pressing them open for me. I'm not pulling or tugging. I'm just letting the machine take the strips in. Yeah, there's...
They like your new glasses.
Thank you. I don't like my new glasses. I like the style and all that. But
You don't like
I don't... No, I'm not used to the bifocals part and the next to my ears on my head. It drives me absolutely bonkers, but I'm trying to get used to them. Trying, that's the big word right there. Yeah, this is probably one of the simplest jelly roll quilts you can make. And you don't have to have a strip tube ruler to make it either. You could make it with a regular ruler as well. As long as it has a 45-degree line on it to line up, you know. My machine is sure going to run overtime, though, today. I literally already sewed one little project this morning. This is project number 2. Except this will be big.
You're working like crazy.
Yeah, I'm working a lot. And then Scott and I need to... Well, Scott can finish the embroidery stuff that we were doing yesterday. He'll get that done today while I work on other stuff because, you know, I just have so much work to do. Not complaining. I enjoy it. Keeps me busy and distracted. Because after this, I'm going to load the long arm and get some of that done. These. With one of these. Sure, why not? These have been rolled up so long, it's a wonder that I can even separate the pieces. Oh, just so that you guys know, if you feel like shopping, I would highly suggest clicking on this link that Scott's going to put in for Connecting Threads because they are having their Christmas in July sale. 25% off of everything in the whole entire store. They have lots of other sales and deals going on, so I would highly recommend checking them out. I spent quite a lot of time on connecting threads last night for their Christmas and July sale. And every purchase you make helps my channel out, but it has to be from the link that he puts in the chat. So you click on that link, purchase from that link, then it helps my channel out just a little bit. All right. One of these and one of these. This is cute fabric. It'll be a nice, calm quilt. Tiffany is making a calm quilt. It's a miracle. I make calm quilts sometimes. All right, here's a large round done. I'm going to separate these and hand them to Scott to get flat. He can work on ironing. Because the Iron Man needs something to do, you know?
Yeah,
all right, here's a nice stack for you. And moving on. So now I'm going to alternate the colors and have as many combinations as I can get out of 8 or 9. I think it was 8 different colors. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 colors. One side or the other, it doesn't matter, no, because in the end, nothing's going to match, so. Come on, this one. Thank you. Oops, that's the fold. That's the open. Oh, I am on the fold. Okay. There we go. All I need to do is pay attention and make sure that I don't run out of bobbin while I'm sewing these long strips. Don't you hate when that happens, where the bobbin runs out and you sewed the whole entire strip and didn't even know that your bobbin was gone? Happens to me quite often. because I don't have a visible tray where I could see the bobbin like on my other Juki. Just right there, just stack them right on top of the, yep, there you go. Yeah, they're exactly the same jelly roll. And I think these are, it doesn't say how many, oh, 40 piece. So 80 total strips. But I am making a big quilt, so.
You a big quilt? No way.
Yep, I'm making a big quilt. Yeah, yep, that's what I'm doing. I know I'm not supposed to be making any more quilts. I should be doing little projects or little quilts, but no, I'm making a big quilt. What are you doing down there? You can't have none of that. The kitty is being nosy today.
I know, he's in a mood. Meowing and running around here.
He's like, I want to see everything that's under mommy's desk.
He doesn't hang out in here for more than 3 minutes.
I know,
Unless
usually
he steals
he's
my chair.
laying in your chair. Oh, and if you're curious, I could speed sew like this because I use a seam guide, the magnetic seam guide, and I have one strip. So I have the bottom strip over my middle finger, the top strip over my first finger, and I use my thumb to slide it back and forth. I've showed it in many of my videos before. And then I use my other hand just to make sure that everything stays straight. And see, I just talked about bobbin and it ran out, but I caught it. I knew I was working on another project, so I knew it was going to run out eventually. Because it doesn't last forever. All right. Yep, Thumper stole Daddy's chair now. He's happy. Now he's just going to lick.
Sewing session.
Oh, you guys miss my insomniac? Yeah. I would say that I sleep normal, but lately, like the past couple weeks, I've not been sleeping normal. But I don't like to wake Scott by coming in here and sewing. So I don't sew. Yeah, for a while, for a really long time, I was sleeping normal. But as of the past couple weeks, I haven't been, and I'm unsure why. I don't think my medicine is working, honestly, is what it is. Plus, it's hot. Even though we have the AC on, it's still not. It's not 100%, I guess, the best for sleep temperature-wise. Oh, just one.
Yeah, they say you could cut stuff up.
I could cut stuff up, yes, because I have a whole nother room that has stuff in it that I could
And I tell you that.
chop, but it's hard to talk to the audience quietly. So I would still wake Scott. He would be like, "Who are you talking to in there?"
I tell you all the time you can go in there and do that. We're trying to get you on a normal sleep schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to get my sleep schedule back to normal again. So here's a whole stack of them again.
Okay, because I'm down to the last 2 here, or 3, or 4. I don't know. You're way ahead of me.
I'm always way ahead of you.
I know.
Oh, I don't think I have a combo with this yet, even though I have a whole bunch more strips to do. That one didn't stay on top of itself. There we go. Now I can see. Seems like a lot of sewing, right? And there'll also be leftovers from this because the ends that I chop off to create the triangles, which will make me a second little quilt. A little scrappy quilt. I like when I can get a little scrappy quilt out of my big pieces. What?
You make string blocks?
I do make string blocks.
What size do you cut the back foundation pieces for the strings to be sewn on?
Well, I use, for my strings to be sewn on, the question was how the size that I use for my strings to be sewn on for foundation string piecing. I use phone book paper, so it depends on how big the phone book is. So if it's a 7-inch phone book, I'm going to say 6-inch square from it because I have to cut away from the phone book too, so to get the papers out of it. If it's one of the bigger ones, they don't make the bigger ones anymore. But if I did come across one of the bigger phone books, then Those I think you get 8-inch squares out of. I'm just going to separate them like this. I think it might be easier. To make sure I get more combos here. That out of the way. There we go. Now I can just grab this one and this one. But you can actually use, like, say you get the Sunday paper or the weekly paper, you can also cut up the paper from getting the paper, cut it up into squares, you know. And those can be however size you want.
Why do you use paper instead of just fabric?
Why do I what?
Use paper instead of just fabric.
You can use fabric. I'm going to tell you from a long arm quilter's perspective, the double layer of fabric is really hard to quilt through, because if you're using a paper stable, or not paper, a fabric stabilizer for string piecing, and say you're just using cheap muslin, because that's probably the cheapest, or old sheet or something. Now I have 2 layers of fabric plus the seam in between. Okay, so it's got bumpy seams, which makes it 4 layers of fabric in between those seams, plus batting, plus backing. So that's a lot of layers to stitch through. Now, not to say I haven't done it, because I have. There's a few of you out there that have sent me your foundation, fabric foundation pieced quilts. Now, I have done that. When you join those seams, now you have 8 layers of seams. Think about that. No, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 layers plus the 5, 6 layers of the other stuff. Yeah, so that's a lot. That's a lot of seam. And then all the corners, even if you press those seams open, all the corners are thick, thick, thick. I mean, that's a lot of seams, a lot of thickness. What? You can do it quilt as you go all you want. Just a reminder though, you won't have that problem with quilt as you go because of the way it's assembled. The problem is the quilt will be heavy. It'll be a heavy quilt. Yeah, lots of extra weights. Yep. So I always use paper. I don't recommend, I mean, you can use the regular printer paper, but they do make what is it called? Foundation papers that you can buy them at Missouri Star. It's a 10-inch square, and you can use that as your foundation papers. Problem with that is they'll get costly, because I think a sheet, a pack only comes with 42 sheets or something like that. So,
have you ever used adding machine tape?
I have not used adding machine paper to make like a strip of it. No, because I haven't had any adding machine paper. But I've seen lots of people who have here on YouTube. So if you just type it in into the YouTube search bar, you'll find people that have used the adding machine paper as the foundation. But this particular way of doing things, you don't need any foundation papers. It's strip pieced, not string, but it's strip. So technically, same concept without the paper. We will still get that look of a quilt that we're looking for with the way the pieces line up this way. Plus the fabric is already pre-cut, so you don't have to worry about pre-cutting your jelly roll strips. You just sew it, or you can do this with a honey bun even. And if you use a background fabric, you can make,
All these food names.
if you use a background fabric as your top piece, so say you make strip sets, right? And they're all 6 inches of fabric worth, you know, and then you use a 6-inch strip of a background fabric on top of that, and then sew down both sides and open it up, you'll have a half strip, half solid, half square triangle. And you can make a lot of stuff with that too. Huh? What? I do it with paper. Sometimes I don't. Oh, yeah, no, I sew with paper or without. It depends on what I'm making. Sorry, I veered off. All right, I'm going to cut these apart and pass them to Scott.
I still have a big pile. I'm a lot slower.
Yeah, he's slower than I am.
The whole world is slower than you.
Scott says, the whole world is slower than you. Green. And that combo. So the next combo is this one. All right, here's another stack for you. I'm just going to throw it up over there. All right, this one and this one. I'm repeating the original one because those can get put with the mix-up ones. This one.
What size quilt will this make?
I have no idea what size quilt this will make. It'll probably be queen size. Every time I've ever used 2 jelly rolls without a background fabric, I usually get a queen size. If I use a background fabric, then I'll get a king size. But I'm not using background fabric today. Just the jelly rolls. I'm sure putting the Iron Man to work today. No, I have not noticed my sewing machine being hot from sewing.
You did run
Like
the motor,
this.
though, on your old one.
I did blow my motor on my old one though, which I've had replaced. It just doesn't sew right, but I mean it does. It sews just fine. It's beautiful stitching. The timing is off. Not the timing when the needle hits the bobbin, the timing of the machine and the sewing, because if I let go of the foot pedal, it continues to sew. Which is highly, highly annoying. Oh, out of another bobbin.
Tell them it took you 7 years to burn it out.
Yep, but it did take 7 years to burn the motor out of the other Juki, so. And yes, I had tons of pre-rolled bobbins for this specific reason. When you do projects like this, it's best to roll a bunch of bobbins. Because they don't last forever. I'm creating a fabric dustapalooza. That's the one thing about working with jelly roll strips.
Yeah, we're all going to be sneezing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be lots of sneezing and all sorts of stuff. We both like Yoo-hoo, is
Yeah,
what Scott
like
said.
Yoo-hoo.
Yeah, we both like Yoo-hoo. These are such soft pastel colors. A what? The question is, have I ever done a fussy cut quilt? Yes, I have fussy cut pieces for a quilt. But do I like to make them? No. Why? Because they waste fabric, and I don't like to waste fabric. So if you've been watching my channel a long time, I don't like to waste fabric. I like to use every single inch I possibly can. And if I'm fussy cutting out shapes out of a yard of fabric, that leaves me with a bunch of weird cuts, and I just can't throw it away. But now, how do I get, or what do I get from that weird cut piece of fabric? Does that make any sense? So I try not to do fussy cutting stuff, but if I want my center square to be all one part, it's best to find a fabric, for me, in the non-waste kind of way, it's best to find a fabric that has repeats all in one section. So if you cut a strip out, you can get repeats from that section, and a lot of them. I do not have videos on fussy cutting unless you like want to count the cutting out specific parts of a panel. And in the beginning, when I used to just do random old, the older videos that are really hard to watch because the lighting and everything, when I used to sew in my garage, there may be a few in there.
You're telling me I have over 1,000 videos.
There's over 1,000 videos, so, there's a lot to watch.
Have you ever made a collage quilt?
Collage quilt. Yes, it's hanging up on my wall. It's more like an Art Deco kind of thing, but still a collage. Okay, when the pile starts swirling. That one.
That one's the collage?
Yeah, that one's applique.
Okay, I like that one. That's a good one. That one's
But I haven't done like a collage quilt like I think it's Laura Heine. I'm not 100% sure on the name that does the fancy collage type, ones where you get a big giant piece and you have to line it up and draw it out. And Jean Truelove did one a long time ago. And it was an elephant one. Pretty sure those are Laura Heine patterns. But yeah, there's a ballerina one. Well, there's a ton of different ones, but I've seen the ballerina one done. And yeah.
You ever made a stack and whack quilt?
I have not made stack and whack quilt because I made the other way where it's not done the stack and whack way where you buy 6 yards or whatever of this and then you cut out the fabrics, equal them up, stack them up, and line everything up, pin it together, and cut your strips out of that. I've done the triangle way from just one piece of fabric because you get the repeat on that second set. So I've done it that way where it creates a design in the middle and then a design on the outside, but hexagon, not, I think the stack and wax are hexagon too, but you know what I mean. I've done it kind of, if that makes any sense. Not the stack and whack way, though.
As you sew your strips, will you change direction or flip the strips to avoid misalignment?
There's no need to change direction on sewing the strips in sets of 2, because the sets of 2 are going into sets of 4 on top of each other, sewing on both sides. If I was, say, doing can't think of the word, a bargello or something where you sew like 15 strips together, I don't really necessarily change direction either because I piece 2 and then I piece 2 and then I piece 2 and then I hook the 4 together after all those are iron. You know what I mean? So technically I don't change direction because I don't open it up, add another, open it up, add another. So there's no need to change direction. You can if you want to. As long as you're pressing in between, you shouldn't get bowing strips if you're pressing properly and not stretching your fabric. I do know that jelly rolls stretch really easily. Those two together. So those two together. These two together and these two together. Okay. I do know that jelly roll strips stretch, so that's why that happens. But if you do it carefully and so carefully the whole time, you shouldn't have to alternate direction. I've made a lot of jelly roll style quilts, so. What? What?
How do they shop connecting threads to get us the thing?
To shop connecting threads to give this, to help us, click on the link that's in the chat right now. You click on that link, what's going to happen is it's going to take you to connecting threads. It's going to give you a little pop-up that says save 15% now if you sign up for email. So sign up for that if you want to. You don't have to. You can click off. Everything site-wide on connecting threads is 25% off for Christmas and July sale. Plus there's other sales already on there. So if you would like, they sell wide backs, they sell thread, they sell all sorts of notion-y stuff. They have all sorts of stuff on there. So you could make a whole quilt. They sell kits on there, regular fabric. They have all sorts of stuff. They're just mainly focused on thread. That's where I get my essential thread. So yeah, and it helps us out. If you stay, once you click on it, say you're on a computer and you click on it and it opens another window, takes you to that site. Once you click on it and you have that window open, as long as that window's open and you purchase from that open window, you know, you put everything into the cart and you have not left that screen, then I get a little tiny percentage. It doesn't cost you anything. I get a little percentage of your purchase, which helps us out. A lot more, yep. This is a highly needed to be ironed project. Huh? I don't know. Because I needed something. All right, just a few more and then I can start pairing them up and sewing the pairs. Huh? I could take over. If you want me to. And one more set to make, and then moving on to sewing the ones Scott has already ironed together. So in less than an hour, I sewed 80 strips together. So 40 sets.
And in the next hour, you're going to sew the other 40 together, huh?
And then in the next hour, I'm going to sew the 40s pieces together into fours. All right, that one.
Poor Scott's never going to be done.
Scott's like, poor Scott is never going to be done.
Hey, I'm sweating over here. It's a sweatshop.
Yeah, this is a sweatshop. I feel it over here on this side. All right, so now I'm taking two pieces and putting the twos together like this. I'm going to nest that seam in the middle so that they stay together, but technically they're the same exact size. So I'm going to sew down one side and then sew down the other. And I'm going to do that same thing with my fingers. I always stick my first finger in between, middle finger on the outside and thumb on the top to keep them aligned. And I'm going to use my hand in the center to make sure that those seams are nesting up. And I could feel it all the way down. So now 2 more go together. And I'm just going to repeat and repeat until I get a bunch of one side all the way down, and then I'll flip them over and do the opposite side. But I'm making sure that the pieces are all different. So there should be enough combinations to have different pieces. One is the same as that. So let's put those two together. And this doesn't have to be done in sets of 2. You can also do sets of 3 for an even bigger block. Let's put this one with this one.
You don't be done with that stuff before I get done over here. Go down.
I still have to sew the second side of all these, so no, you won't be. You will be done by the time I'm done.
Well, Thumper took my seat. I don't know what that is.
These together. Any more questions of anything? I feel like I'm not talking. All right, I'm going to turn the whole thing around now and sew down the opposite side of all these real quick. Oh, I knew that was going to happen as soon as I do that every single time. I knocked the thread out of the thing from holding it close like I do. Seems to happen to me often. All right.
Tell Linda, yes, you burned a motor out.
Yes, I burned a motor out in my other Juki. But guess what? If this one burns out, I'll just buy another one. Or get it repaired. Either way.
No, we're not taking it to that repair guy.
No, we'll take it to a different repair person.
Yeah.
This way is quite easy when you do the opposite side because you can just line it up because it was flat on your initial sewing. And I went astray. There we go. Turn. I can just keep them flat. Oh, add a bobbin again. Thank you guys for helping support by buying stuff on Connecting Threads. Like I said, there's a lot to purchase on there. They sell all sorts of stuff. I like their wide backs and the thread, the Essentials thread. And the Essentials thread has so many different colors to choose from. They also have the ones that like match certain things or whatever that go with lines and stuff. Have you not seen my clothes? This is the jelly rolls are the messiest things to use if they have pinked edges. Any pinked edges fabric is messy. Messy, messy, messy. Yeah, I actually thought about getting a regular industrial machine. The oh, I forgot what number it is. It's not the one I currently have. That's my bag making machine. But I thought about getting the regular one because I sew like I do, like this, continuously, all the time. I thought about getting another industrial, but until the future, because it's not going to happen right now, but in the future, we're thinking of turning the living room into my studio in the future. And then I might think about it because I'll have more room to have the second industrial machine because those, you know, they have a table, so you got to have space to have more than one, and I definitely don't have space in here for more than one.
You just keep on thinking.
Yeah.
Just keep on thinking.
All right,
Tiffany.
here is
You
a
keep
whole
on
stack.
thinking.
You don't have to press these because they need to be cut now. All
Good, because I
right,
still have this whole stack.
these two together.
I have a whole stack.
All right, next two. Okay, those can go together. I'm getting a good variety. Nothing's matching up so far. So just because it's 9 fabrics only, 9 different colors, it's working out.
Very spring colored.
Yes, very spring for sure.
Very light pinks and yellows and blues and greens.
Yep.
Also Easterish. The Easter, you know?
Yep. Okay, put this pile over.
Did you make a video in that stack and light that you did your way?
No, I did not make a video because it was me attempting to follow a video. The stack and whack is the question. Did I make a video? No, I didn't. There's a lot of things I do that I have not made videos of because it didn't turn out right, or it turned out okay, but I wasn't available for making a video, or back then I didn't have the good camera. Try that again. Yes, I did rip my seam so that I could reline this back up. There we go. This one. Oh, nope, those are the same. Can't use that. Those are the same. Can't use that. Those are the same, but they're not the same as this. Nope. Throwing things here. Don't do that because that's the same as that. That can go this one. All right, flip it around and do the other side of all of these ones. This time I'm going to try not to knock my thread out. And as always, oh, there they are. I misplaced my snips.
What's better for the design wall, batting or felt?
Felt and batting are about the same for sticking on a design wall.
We've never used felt, so we don't know.
No, I have used felt. My little boards are made with felt, and I had a bunch of. I've had felt things. It sticks to the fabric amazingly. And a lot of people use tablecloths, and on the back side of tablecloths is usually felt because it's cheaper than flannel or cotton or whatever tablecloths put on them. I don't use tablecloths, and when I did for like kids' birthdays, I would buy the ones from the store. Oh, you want to know how you know that the Essentials thread from Connecting Threads, which is having Christmas in July sale right now, is good? Is because you can see me sewing super duper duper fast, and my thread is not breaking. So that's how you know it's a good thread. Oh, well, it's also good if I didn't run out of bobbin. All right, this is my last bobbin that I rolled of that color. I'm gonna have to start using up some of these multicolored ones. That's how you know it's a good thread, because I can continuously speed sew at the fastest my machine sews with no breaks. But it is hitting that thread. I can see it. These over in the done pile and start putting some more sets together. Scott looks to be almost done with the ironing part.
I got a bunch here for you. Hold on, I'm getting phone calls and questions.
Who called? Oh. Yeah. All right. Let's put this one with this one. I'm going to make some combos right now. This one and this one. That one cannot go with that one. We'll just sew these two for now.
How much space do you lose with your ruler base when you have it on?
I don't lose any space with the ruler base. The ruler base is designed to go all the way back and all the way forward. It sits under it sits on the bed flat and flush like this on the long arm, so it's flat and flush like this. But it's designed, the pole it goes under the pole when you go back, and when you come to the front, it stops at that pole because that's the farthest the space actually goes. My ruler base is only like that big, maybe that big, but taller. It's about that long by that big. Oh, I knocked the thread out doing that. I'll put that back in the thing. Probably got to train myself not to trim things and pull them past the thread. I never remember to not do those kind of things. Some more combos.
I'll bet him if it's going to be done first.
Well, I have to wait for him to do strips because, oh, now I have two that'll go together.
I'm doing 3 things at once. I'm doing questions, phone calls, everything. You're just doing one thing. Just calm down. I got a lot going on.
I could be like most bosses and go, stop socializing, get to work. No personal phone calls at work.
If I didn't answer it, it would have
Oh, I know. I was just being silly. These two together. Turn them around and go the opposite direction. I don't know why this is so much fun to me to just so fast. Does anybody else here sew like this? Or am I the only one that does this? You don't need a machine that goes fast to sew like this. I just meant the continuous sewing. There. There we go. All right, what do we got here? Those two could go together. Carol sews fast. April sews fast too. Oh, we got machine. I remember my old brother and on that table that I had it on, and it bounced up and down as I sewed. Even though that machine didn't even sew fast, the table just went blah, 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 blah.
Brother, but
Yeah, these kind of machines, especially these kind of machines, not all like littler machines, the smaller ones, but these heavy duty ones on the folding out tables, oh man, they bounce. It actually bounces on my kitchen table too. I put this on my kitchen table. Maybe it's because this desk is super solid and that's why it doesn't bounce. It does vibrate though, but it doesn't bounce. to snip these ones apart because I sewed both sides. All right. Now I just have to wait. I think he has like, what, 2 more?
I don't know. Give me a second. You're rushing.
Well, I'll sew the other side of this one while.
Go pet the kitty cat. You stole my chair still.
While we wait.
He's asleep over here.
Yep. He's sleeping through the sound of the machine.
Yeah, he's sweating. He's sleeping.
Are the 2 that's left matchy? Oh no, there's more than 2. Is there more than 2?
There's only 2. And no, one's pink and whatever, and this one's green and white.
Okay, perfect. Look at that. Oh no, these 2 match. Never mind.
That's what you get messing with me.
Put that one down.
Get your
You know what?
matchy-
We're gonna have one matchy one
Why?
because
Why don't you just wait 2
3
seconds
of them
till
are
I'm done with this?
because 3 of them are white, so it doesn't matter which ones I hook it with. 3 of them have this white on it. That's fine. It will be fine.
Are both sides of that one matchy though?
Well, no, it'll be on opposite sides. It'll just
Because this one only has white on one side, and that one doesn't have white on any side.
nope, that'll be fine.
That one has pink on one side and yellow on the other. Pink yellow. Pink yellow.
Oh, come on. Welcome to those that are joining in. And good morning. All right.
Okay, what's next?
Now I have to, you can sit down for a while and turn the iron off because I got to cut all this up.
I'll gladly turn the iron off because I'm sweating like a pig over here, but the cat stole my seat.
Just pick them up and move them to the floor. All
You do this
right.
every Thursday?
Every, the first and third Thursday of every month. I do not do it every Thursday because it's already too much for me because I'm on every Sunday. So, not that I couldn't find a project for every Thursday and every Sunday, but I like to keep these separate, and it's just an extra time for those of you that are in other countries to catch me, and or those of you that are morning people. Right. Ta-da! Okay. Now, I got this big, huge pile. It's time to turn these into squares. Do I want to use this one on the 6? Yeah, I think I'm going to use, let's see what this one. Yep, we're going to do 6-inch on this. So I'm going to line my stitching line up with the 6-inch solid line on here, like there's solid dash, solid dash. I'm going to do the solid line. They're stitching on my stitching line. I'm going to start as close to the selvage as I possibly can get. I'm going to line that on there. And I'm going to make a cut, and then, the needle to not unthread when using the cutter. No, just leave the foot down. If you use the thread cutter while the foot is down, it's still locked in there. If you use the thread cutter when the foot is up, it can come apart. So if you leave it down, it's still stitched down in there. All right, so here is one block. I will hang it there. I'm going to turn my lovely thing. And like I said, you can use a regular ruler. This one, if I line it up on the 6-inch mark, and line it on there, I can cut one side, but then I have to turn and cut the other side because obviously a rectangle ruler is not going to work. But a square ruler, if you put the 6-inch marking on a square inch ruler, say 6 inches here and here, even though it's not, but if it is here, line that up, so that way those two one side of the line's on one side of your stitch line and the other one is on the other side of your stitch line, and cut. I, on the other hand, have strip tube rulers. You can also use the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer as well for this. And then I'm just going to line up my straight edge on that side and then seam on this side and cut this way. And this does not work for me sitting down. Look at all this on me. I'm speckled, Scotty.
We'll clean it, don't worry.
I'm speckled. Okay, so I had a crooked cut there. Sometimes I waste fabric, but I have to stand to cut. I'm a stander. I like to stand. All right, and here they just like that. That's all they are. 6-inch blocks like this. And you can put them however you want. For now, I'm just gonna lay them up there. I gotta make a fresh cut on this side real quick because that one was kind of wonky. It wasn't kind of wonky, it was really wonky. All right, there we go. Just gonna put them up here. I'm not even ironing them right now. Just gonna finger press, lay them up there. Line up that edge, line up this edge, make my cut. Place on wall. So I'm just going to repeat this through every single one of these. And the problem with this is, how we like to chain piece, chain stack, cut, blah, blah, blah. Well, with this method, you can't chain stack them because that is an impossible thing to line up those stitch lines right on top of each other, because your sewing line is not always perfectly straight, if that makes any sense at all. Even though you think it's straight, it's going to be a little on the wonky side. So if you lay them on top of each other, it won't be perfect. All right, I'm going to get one more out of this. And then my scrap will be this, and at another time, so I'll rip these apart like that, I can hook 4 of these together Always rip the small part. I could put 4 of these together and create a different block.
Oh,
Okay.
that's pretty.
So I save all my cutoffs and I'll get a second quilt out of that. So now I just lay these out. I have 40 units to chop up. So this may take me a minute. So right now is probably the best time to ask questions or anything like that.
Need water?
That goes in that pile. No, I have water, which I'm going to take a drink of right now.
You don't need no.
No, I don't. Okay. So it's just flipping the ruler, lining things up. Got to make sure you have your glasses on for this step. And if you have to cut, like here's my stitching line is kind of wonky again. If I have to cut a new straight edge, I will. So it's just ever so slightly, you know. I'm just going to make a nice giant stack of all this. Whoop. Right there. Slide it back. And we got a wonky one again.
A wonky one again.
A wonky one. Just slightly wonky.
Have you had trouble with the Juki bobbin winder? Mine is noisy now.
No, I have not had any problems with my bobbin winder on my Juki. If it's noisy, put some oil in the oil holes on top. There is a little thing up there for the oil to go. Okay. You get 8 blocks from each strip, and I have 40 strips to cut. So 8 times 40. 320. That's not the right. That'd be 8. 8. You get 8 from 40 strips.
You want to say 40 divided by 8?
Yes. No. I don't know. What am I
5.
trying to think? No.
5 times 8 is 40.
I have no idea what I'm trying to add this up. My brain is not thinking correctly. I'm not worrying about it now. For now, I'm just cutting it all up. Cut and go. That's all I'm doing. And then we'll have to put Mr. Iron Man to work again, pressing all these open. No, it'll be later. We'll press them open off camera. I'll probably get them done before next week, or we'll lay it out on the design wall and see what we can come up with the layout. For now, we got the sewing and the cutting part done. Oh no, this is going to take me a while to chop all this up.
Can you combine 2 different jelly rolls of similar colors?
You can combine 2 different jelly rolls, similar colors. It doesn't matter. You can combine whatever you want. It's up to you. It's your quilt. It's your creative process, you know. You can make whatever you want with whatever you want. I have mixed so much stuff because I like scrappy. But if you have two jelly rolls that are, you know, accentable of each other's colors, then sure, why not mix them? You don't always have to use the same matching stuff. No one ever said that you have to match. I'm just using two of the same to finally use them. Your mom.
Hello?
Whew. This is the part that takes, well, I don't, maybe it does. No, it takes longer than the sewing part. Plus some of them I have to cut a second line from because the stitching isn't perfect all the way across. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it lines right up like this one, but the next one might not. Oh, that one did. Ooh, there we go.
Do you have a vision of what you want the quilt to look like before you start, or are you just winging it?
I am just winging it. This is something that I just like to wing it with. I don't have a vision. I just knew I wanted to make strip piece blocks today. So that's what I'm doing. So there's going to be, hold on, let me press some of these, finger press them open. Just for general idea purposes. All right. So you can make them all go the same direction. Like this. It's probably hard to see the colors, but so they can all go in the same general direction. Of course, I would mix them up more so that no two same colors are touching if I was to do it like this, obviously. Grab one more, so that way I'm working with an equal amount. Okay, so they can all go one way like that. Or you can have them come in.
Have you ever made a quilt from a book?
I have made lots of quilts from books. This. This. Oops, that one was correct. This one needs to be turned. Or like this. Oops. And that. So you can make them come together like this. Or, oops, you could have had them all going that same direction and then the other side going the opposite way. The whole way. Opposite way, that way. Right? Yeah. Opposite way. Oh, that one was that way.
What's your most favorite quilt that you have done so far in your quilting journey?
Favorite quilt that I've done so far in my quilting journey? All of them. I don't have a favorite. I like them all. I mean, the most complicated one is one of my favorites, as in, yeah, I did a carpenter wheel star, And that drove me mad. I did do it on video, but it drove me mad, and it is one of my favorites. I also like, I just recently did the purple diamond one here, the diamond detour pattern for Breakfast at Tiffany's episodes, a few episodes back. And I really love that. I can't wait to quilt that. But obviously, you know, it's purple. That's why. There's been some, I have tons in here that I haven't even quilted yet. I love them all. I just love them all. I just love them all. Anyways, there's tons of different ways they can be laid out. I'm not going to lay them all out that way right now because, yeah, it's hard for you to probably see them because they're all in pastels. All right, back to standing. Just lining up. Oops, there's stitch line with my stitch line. And every now and then there'll be a thread or two right here at the top. You just pluck them apart. They come apart really easily. Oops, let's try to keep that right there.
Any suggestions or tips for a Barn Star sampler quilt?
Barn Star sampler quilt. Follow the directions, I guess. I don't know. I haven't done a Barn Star quilt. I've done star quilts, but not a Barn Star quilt. I've done lots of samplers too.
Can you cut more than one of these at a time?
You cannot cut more than one of these at a time. Like I said earlier, you cannot line those stitching lines up and expect them to be perfect. So if you had two stacked on top of each other, that stitch line on this one and the stitch line on that one on the top are not going to be in the same spot. No matter how consistent your 1/4 inch seam is, these are one at a time kind of cutting things because you're not going to get those seams to line up when they're on top of each other. Because there's some veering, as you can tell. I'm cutting off, you know, whatever. How do I know that the bottom piece didn't, you know, funkily veer and the top one didn't? You know what I mean? So one does and one doesn't. And just like this piece right here, every other cut needs a second. And I don't want to have to go back and trim all the ones that weren't while I'm, you know what I mean? I think that would be more work for yourself. Glad that didn't fall on my foot face down. Whew.
Do you have a video on putting binding on that has rounded corners?
I have not done rounded corner binding. I actually don't like that look. I think it looks too old-fashioned. So I don't do rounded corner binding. I haven't done, people have asked if I've done scalloped edges. I have not done that either. No, that one doesn't have scalloped edges, does it? My double wedding ring in there? I think it does. Maybe it does. But I didn't do it. It's a part of the double wedding ring. Whew, this is going to be a lot of cutting.
Have you ever made the brick wall quilt?
I don't know what a brick wall quilt is. Some quilts, I don't know what they are. I'd have to see a picture to see if I've even seen it before or know that I've done it by seeing a picture of it. If it's not listed in my videos, though, the likelihood of me of making it off camera anytime recently or a long time ago would be slim to none, honestly. If it's not, you know, because I've been filming almost everything I've done. They're just little projects that I do off camera a lot. But big projects, I try to do them all on camera. I've made some off camera, but...
When you made your double wedding ring, did you use FTP?
I did not make the double wedding ring. I actually purchased a quilt top to quilt, and it's a double wedding ring. I just haven't quilted it yet. I like to buy quilt tops that other people make and then quilt them up.
You like to quilt?
Because I like to quilt. I like to come up with ideas and things that I can quilt, and so I got it to practice my fancy quilting. I just haven't done it yet because I've had a lot of jobs that are taking up my long arm quilting time. Oh, come on. Really? So I'm going to have a bunch of 6-inch blocks here.
Dream quilt gonna be put in the show?
I was hoping to get my dream quilt done and get it ready for show, but I've had a lot of long arm jobs and those take precedence over my own personal quilting. So it hasn't even been started yet. I have a feeling that what I end up doing on it is going to need more than, 3 or 4 days on the long arm because it is a big quilt and it's going to get custom quilted. So, that takes me some
You
time.
have a whole nother year.
Yeah, I have a whole nother year
Our quilt show is every
for a
year,
local.
so it was this year. There won't be one next year. It'll be the following year. So you can get it done.
Yeah. Well, that's because I want to enter the quilt con, remember? So it would have had to have been done by now. That way I could have it ready to email and submit pictures. Come on. Right there. Oh. Well, this is not good. We're going to rip this out. See, sometimes this happens. It only caught the edge of the pinking right here. So I literally need to rip it. Can't see the underside though when I'm stitching sometimes. There we go. I'll fix this real quick and then get ready to get off of here. So that shifted when I was sewing it. That happens. Nice and flat. Ah, there we go. That's better. And that happens sometimes too. So I'm just gonna line up that stitch line in there. See, I was gonna cut a whole section that wouldn't have even been sewn. Because I let it, oops, I don't know what I'm doing. Turn ruler, not piece. I let it shift and didn't even realize it. And one more.
If you want this to be king size, should you cut your triangles on the 5.5 or even 6-inch line?
If I want it to be king size, should I cut them on the 5.5 or 6 inch? They are on the 6-inch line. It's not going to be king size though. It's probably going to end up full.
Well, if they want it to be.
If you want it to be king, you're going to have to add more jelly roll strips. Like I said earlier in the beginning, I usually get a queen size out of 2 jelly rolls. Depends on what I'm making with them, obviously. But I usually get a queen size. If I want a king, I'll use 3 jelly rolls or 4 jelly rolls, or 2 jelly rolls and background fabric. Lots of background fabric, depending on what I'm making, obviously. Most king size patterns that I've done with jelly rolls, because I've done a lot of patterns, have at least 5.5 yards of a background, and they use 80 strips, especially like cozy quilt patterns. They tell you how many strips you need. Instead of telling you how many jelly rolls, they tell you how many strips. Because some jelly rolls come with 40 piece, some jelly rolls come with 42 pieces. Just depends on the company that's making them. Okay. Once this one is done, I'm gonna. Any questions while I'm finishing this piece up? No? Besides a cat meowing in the background. Yeah. Oh, I'm probably going to go with the layout that does this. Let me put it where I want it, just so that you guys can see. This is probably what I'm going to do with them. I've around, but oops. There. And one more, just because. All right, you can bring the camera up and show them.
Ready?
Yep, I'm gonna finish cutting this. I'll move the chair out of the way. Yeah, the fabrics are really light. So the camera is moving.
Out of the way.
The strip tube ruler is the strip tube ruler. It's by Cozy Quilt Designs. There's strip tube ruler, the big one, and then there's the strip tube junior. I'm using the strip tube junior right now. It can be bought at any of my affiliate links. So that's probably the layout I'm going to go with, my friends. And here's what the strip tube rulers look like. Right here. So when it's on the fabric, you can see there's a big, huge one. This is got all the numbers, and this one has all the numbers as well. One's just bigger. So I can do, like I was saying, you can do 3 jelly roll strips together in a row, and then put the 2 sets of 3 on top of each other and use the bigger ruler for that. So if you want like 9-inch blocks or something. So I'm using the small one. I'm lining my stitch line up with the 6-inch solid line on here. But I could use just the one. You only need the one, really. The smaller one's just good for when you don't need a big ruler. All right. And then, like I said, with my leftovers, I usually tear them apart, because this is what I'll end up doing after the fact, and sewing them together. like this. So I will make squares out of it. I don't know if you can even see where I'm at right now down here, but yeah. So I use the leftovers to create other stuff. Yeah. And then I square them, obviously. So I shall have 2 times 40. I should have enough on there to make a baby quilt from all that. All right, any questions before I get off of here? And don't forget, when you make with jelly rolls and stuff, look at my shirt. It's covered. This is what happens. So it's nice to have like a lint roller of some sort, or just throw it on the floor. And when your husband vacuums next for you, if your husband even vacuums for you, mine does, then obviously he can just vacuum all that off the floor. 90% of it gets drugged through the house because, you know, it just falls off of me and we all drag thread and fuzz through the house. But yeah, just remember you're going to get covered if you have pinked edges. That's it. No questions? All right, guys. Well, it is 9 a.m. here. Good morning to all of you, but I'm going to get off of here so that I can cut all the rest of this. And by the next episode of Breakfast at Tiffany's, which is in 2 weeks, we will assemble, because by then I'll have all this cut, pressed properly, and ready to be laid out on the wall and put together. So we'll find out how big it's going to be then. But I have a feeling that it's going to be, just by looking at this, it's probably going to fit on a full-size bed. If I don't add borders or anything, I don't think it's going to be that big. For some reason, it just doesn't seem that way, but never know. I don't know. Anyway, all right, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next episode of Breakfast at Tiffany's, or on Sunday, because that's my next live stream. You can press the button now, Mr. Scotty.
Are you done?
Bye, everybody. Bye.